Hey y'all, hopefully everybody can hear me. Give me a second here. I'm trying to looks like my schedule live did not kick in, which is makes me sad. I had questions pre-filled and everything. Oh, I don't have time for that. Alright, well, I'll go ahead and get started, and hopefully people are able to join. Welcome. I know it's been a minute, but I wanted to record this particular session via Facebook because it allows me to do polls and ask questions, etc. Oh, there they are. It looks like it finally populated, but I want to start with thank you for the support from anyone who has either joined the live or subscribed to the YouTube channel, anything like that. It means a lot to me because I know, this is all new and I'm filling out or getting a feel for the cadence that I would like to have for my podcast. So, and as you know, when I'm live, I'm often checking devices and whatnot. So give me 1 second. And my phone is dying. So let me, no, Khaleesi took my charger. Give me 1 moment. So anyway, I guess I never really set any ground rules when I'm podcasting, but basically what I would like is that there be no disrespect, right? First and foremost, we're all free thinkers and hopefully open-minded when making comments. So I do ask that be, top of the house or top priority when viewing or commenting on the podcast. And then 2, let's be open-minded. I mean, not no judgment zone. Everybody's entitled to their opinions and what their thoughts are and what they like and don't like, or what have you, and that's okay. Like, I never want to surround myself with people who think exactly like I do, because either 1, that's a little creepy, or 2, you're being fake in my mind. Again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that anyone won't have the same thoughts or similarities, that's normal, but to be identical to me just seems off. But anyway, so let's get started. So some of the things that the reason I said I had a list, if you're following me or we're connected on Facebook, I spend most of my time on Facebook and Instagram, just to give an idea. And going into 2024, my plan is to be, and I need you all to hold me accountable. So, call me out or whatever. I guess shoot me a DM if you're not one of my people that can text. But my plan is it's almost like this is going, I feel like for me and the type of person I am, this is going to be more of a therapy for people, because the crazy thing is that I feel like when we pass judgment or we're being super critical of others, when it comes to relationships, money, or whatever it is, it's is totally unnecessary. But at the same time, it's like, are we even being conscious of it? and what is that saying about you? I guess that's where therapy comes in. And maybe one day, I don't know, maybe I can bring in a therapist. However, until then, I took enough psychology courses where I can't help myself but to, as I've said on other podcasts, is to psychoanalyze people. And, again, that's not me necessarily saying, you're a bad person or something's wrong, but it's just, part of my thought process. And it makes me wonder, and I do this to myself, but it makes me wonder where someone's head is at when they're passing judgment. And so as I go through this, I'm going to, obviously be checking the comments, any notifications. So again, I apologize in advance if I seem distracted, but it's just part of the live. And hopefully, like I said, people can hear me. There's no issues with sound, etc. Because I have had that issue with, playing around with different apps and microphones and all that good stuff. So let's get down to business. So some housekeeping items. Typically my live will not be more than an hour. Every now and again it runs over. And then also hopefully I can transcribe or transfer over to YouTube, because that's really what I want, is that people go over to YouTube to tap in and be able to, if you can't watch me live, then you can watch me on YouTube, right? Then that way you can always comment later or what have you. But again, something I want to dive into first is basically my podcast is going to talk a lot about relationships, money, and just life. So relationships from the aspect of, there's always something in social media about celebrities or just people's opinions of what should and shouldn't be happening in a relationship, bashing males or females in relationships, things like that. But I feel like a lot of times, while people are doing the bashing, it's like, so are you doing any self-reflecting? So are you self-reflecting on why, you're bashing? Because again, people like me, when you're doing that, it's almost like, why does that matter to you? I'm not saying that everything we do or comment on is a priority, but it's like when you take the time out of your day to make a post or continuously share things, there's a pattern there, right? So why does that bother you so much if it's a non-issue, right? But again, primarily because I know a lot of, especially like with the Diddy, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but the Diddy lawsuits with Cassie and just, multiple things going on. It's a lot of stuff to unpack. But again, I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to spend a lot of time on the celebrity stuff, because again, it's unfortunate, but we know that a lot of times these young ladies put themselves, and they're victims, I'm not downplaying that at all, but they put themselves in these positions where they can be preyed on by these older men, and it's very unfortunate. So I'm just praying for everybody that is a victim to come out of this on the better end of things, and hopefully can live their lives without being forever traumatized. But anyway, I am going to, let me see if I'm doing this correctly, but I'm going to drop some of the polls and or questions I attempted to pre-fill before this live, so give me a second here. It looks like the questions did not save, but bear with me here. So here's one. So what are some areas you can improve in to attract the partner you want? Because I feel like a lot of times, as I mentioned, that we spend a lot of time, and if it's other, just put a comment. So I listed communication, availability, vulnerability, and honesty. So like I said, when your social media is so heavy or has such a presence, whether we want to admit it or not, when you're on social media, it has such an influence on how people think, what they do, whatever it is. They might, somebody who may not have the thoughts of, oh, he should be more present, or she should be more available, or a certain text message, or whatever it is. Social media, I don't care what anybody says, it has more of an influence now, right? And I think that's sad, because don't get me wrong, I'm on social media like everybody else, but for a different reason, right? So it's like, why let social media tell you what you should be doing in your relationship? So, or how to attract someone, or advice is great, but you have to have some friends, family members, or something who know you well, who can give you better advice than social media from people who don't know you, right? My opinion. I will always stress that. That's my opinion. No need to bash me because it's just my opinion. But I would love to hear from people as to what they think in regards to what are some areas you can improve in to attract your partner. Like me, for example, I'm a fan of, especially, older, and having been in multiple relationships, I don't want to come into a relationship and give someone what I consider a lesser version of myself. Meaning, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I bring to the table, the table that we talk about, and all those things. So why would I not give that to the person that I so-called love or want to spend the rest of my life with, who I think is my person? Why wouldn't I want to be top-notch for that person, right? So whether you wait or, hold on, let me see if I can show results, but whether you wait to do that, or you go ahead and jump into the relationship. Hold on, let me see, I don't want to minimize myself. That you either, I guess there's only two options, right? You either proceed with the relationship as is, or you wait, or communication is one of my options, because I'm big on that. Like, if you're not a good communicator, or you're not expressing your feelings, or what have you, how will that person ever know, where you're headed, or what your intentions are, or what you need from them, if you're not a good communicator? But also, the reason I said availability is because sometimes, you get in these relationships, or you're trying to, especially women, I'm just going to call us out here, we engage with gentlemen who don't have time for us, right? I'm not saying there's no women that are like this, but we often, I'm not saying we're waiting around, but we make ourselves available for men who are not emotionally available, right? So whether it's physically available, emotionally available, whatever it is, that's where the availability column comes in. Now, vulnerability, I'm sorry, being vulnerable. Um, I think some people are just not capable of doing that, and they just fear what that looks like to the other person, which is sad. Not saying I've never been there, but I just really think that's sad, because then now the partner is missing out on who you truly are because you're not willing to be vulnerable with them. And then honesty, I really think that's, and let me know if I'm wrong, but honesty is common sense. Either you're being honest or you're not, right? And it's unfortunate that that's even an option on the list, that honesty is an issue. So let me know what you think. Honesty, vulnerability, availability, and communication. Where do you fall? Prioritizing on where you can improve in these areas. Oh my God, everything's popping up on my screen right now too. Okay, I'll leave that poll open for a few more minutes or seconds. Now, something else. Let me see if I can get back to my questions. Give me a second here. Interesting. So I set all this up prior to the live in hopes that, let me look. Nope. I'm grateful that the polls are working, but it seems like the questions are not. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard here and leave hopefully the poll is still open. But yeah, Kim, so yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I get why some people hesitate to be vulnerable, because unfortunately sometimes people do take advantage, and and that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't have good intentions, and I know sometimes, I'm just going to speak for myself, in the past anyway, we tend to have what I'll call our rose-colored glasses on, and we want to see the best in people, whether it's there or not, and you want to put them on a pedestal. You want to see their potential, things like that. And it's, unfortunately, you have to be realistic. And I know, when you're younger, especially, it's one of those things where you're both young, or you're young and you don't know any better, right? You don't know to take a step back and say, okay, hold on, wait a second, does this person really have good intentions for me, or am I moving too fast, or whatever it is. And it becomes a whole thing, and then you find yourself, oh my God, it's a year or 2 years later, and you've wasted that time and nothing comes from it, right? But at the same time, this is where I feel like communication, this is why I put that at the top of the list, is because I feel like communication would prevent a lot of the mishaps, or waste of time. I'm just going to call it what it is, because as we all know, you don't get that time back. There's no way to get the time back. You can get the money back, you can get, everything else back except for time. Once that time is gone and wasted, that's it. Game over, right? And then, like you say, Kim, trust. I believe I have that in one of my polls where, a lot of people have trust issues, especially once you've gone through a relationship or two, or, whatever it is, and you've been, jabbed a few times, and it makes you question your judgment, in my opinion, where you're like, man, how did I not see that coming, or, whatever it is. So let me see if I can pull that poll up. Let's see. So I will bring this one up where, no, that's not yet. But I did have one where a question anyway, it disappeared where, let me see if I can add it. Okay, hopefully I spelled everything right. Gonna save and publish that. Do you feel like some of your relationship failed due to trust issues? So maybe you weren't the person that had the problem or the trust issues, but the other person did. And you know, as much as I would like to say people have good intentions, unfortunately their past plays into their current, right? So if you have trust issues going into a new relationship, I'm not saying it can work, because it can, but the other party who doesn't have the trust issues is going to have a lot of patience, right? So, let me know. I mean, if I'm talking crazy, or y'all think I'm way off script, I really want to know, because there's so much content, I'll say, on social media where it's like, my God, like, do we even like each other anymore? Like, men and women, like, it's so negative. I just don't understand it. Like, how did we get here? And I kind of know how we got here, because social media is accessible to everybody, right? So prior to that, I don't think that it was I'm not saying it wasn't an issue at all, but it wasn't such a big issue, because you don't have the access to see what so many people are thinking at once, right? So, we all have our favorite influencers that we may follow, and then as you know, most platforms, there's always suggestions of other people you can follow, etc. And then you start following other people, and then it goes into a rabbit hole where I feel like some people get lost. I'm just gonna say, speak my mind here, because I don't understand why people allow people they don't know to have so much influence over their thinking and how they live their lives. I'm just gonna say it that way. So what do you do, right? I know a lot of people, sometimes they disconnect from socials, and I respect that, because if you don't have the acumen to discern, what you should and should be doing, or in this case, consuming is electronic, maybe you do need to disconnect, and maybe you do, so it's a lot. It can be overwhelming, depending on the person. Me, prior to 2024 and going into 2024, it's all noise to me. Like, it becomes noise, and I'm not trying to hear any of that, right? So if it's not making me money, or it's not being prosperous for me or my daughter, or whatever it is, I'm not trying to hear that. It's all, I block all of it out. It's noise. It's noise, it's noise, it's noise. And with that said, let me see, we're about 25 minutes in. I'm praying that, and maybe I can be that voice, but I need more people to not care about what other people say. And I'm not saying that that's easy, or it's a light switch you can turn on or off, but you have to prioritize. And understand that not everybody has your best interests at heart. Not everybody wants you to see you doing better because they like you the way you are. Not everybody wants you to be doing better than them. And they will find any way to, try to break you down or bring you down or whatever. So I need y'all to promise me that going into 2024, whatever you're listening to, myself or someone else, because God knows there's tons and tons of, lives or reels or whatever on socials. YouTube, it's a lot of content for you to listen to, but I want you to make sure it's positive and conducive to what your goals are. Forget about everybody else. Forget about the negativity they're trying to bring. Forget about the past that they're trying to bring up that you no longer have anything to do with, mind you. Block all that out because it's noise. Noise. It is not doing anything for you at all. And then you have to question, why is that person or persons even going down that path? Don't they have something better to do? I would hope so. So anyway, let me pull up my polls. Because like I said, on Facebook, I have, a few things or list I wanted to touch on. And first of all, what areas can you improve in? And I'll stay on the relationship path really quick. I'll go back and what is one thing you wish you would have done in the past, in a past relationship. So let me activate that poll. So what is one thing you wish you would have done in a past relationship? So, and again, it can be other. Don't hold me to this list, but better communicator, because again, your girl is a fan of communication. Have more date nights, spend more quality time, QT, not take the person for granted. Because I feel like some guys, and again, I'm getting better at reading comments and things like that. I can't tell you how time consuming that is, but I'm getting better at that before I do these lives. But what are your thoughts? Better communicator. Well, let's back up. What is one thing you wish you would have done different in a past relationship? Be a better communicator, have more date nights, spend more quality time, which I guess date nights could be, but quality time could be anywhere, right? Not take the person for granted, whether it be, say you're married and unfortunately, nope, not bashing dads, so don't come for me, but say you're a dad and you're not helping the mom. You both work. You're not helping the mom when you come home from work. She's still tending to the kids, doing all the cooking, doing all the cleaning, doing all the homework, doing all, right? So that can be seen as taken for granted, right? So what on this list or other do you think you could have done differently? Because I feel like we need to do some more self-reflecting versus always looking to point the finger and blame others. So what can you do better? Because you can't control what someone else is doing, right? You can only control what you're doing. So be the change. And be a leader, especially if it's a relationship of value and you want to, you see yourselves, whether it be marriage, long term, or because I understand and respect that not everybody wants to be married, or maybe you've been married before and you don't want to do it again, or that's just never been something you've been interested in. But if you are interested in being married, then listen to your partner. What do they need from you? The relationship is supposed to be conducive and both happy. It's hard, it's a lot of work, but what's going to work for you. And then lastly, I feel like I'm going to have to start typing my questions if I'm going to do live separately. But my other poll was on the note of outside of relationships, or maybe relationship related, why are we not more supportive of others? Again, there's a lot of bashing I see, and whether it be, you know, males and females, or versus, or women, you know, supporting one another, men supporting one another. Everybody needs some advice, right? Like, it's not always about you. And then why do you want it to just be about you? I don't know too many people that can, if you're interested in building an empire or leveraging or leveling up, it's very hard to do on your own. There's always someone out there who's smarter or has the experience. I don't care what you're doing, right? Myself included. Sometimes it's as simple as someone has lived longer, right? You can't compete with that. You know, if you're in your 20s, somebody's 45 or 50 is trying to tell you the game, why wouldn't you take the time to listen? I mean, I know one reason why you may not is because you don't care, or, you know, you figure you're going to do it, bump your head as many times as you need to get it done, so you can say you did it all by yourself. But to me, that's insane. If I can leverage a coach, I'm going to leverage a coach, especially if it's free. For the free, y'all. Like, why wouldn't you want to tap into someone else's knowledge for free? Or I'll say for the low, right? Because sometimes maybe it's not free, but it's super cheap, and it doesn't require you sitting through an entire course or some type of conference, which I am not opposed to. You all know I travel, and I'm for it. I'm for all of that. When it is something that is conducive for me and what I'm trying to do, right? But again, back to the poll. Let me go back. Flip-flop in here. Give me a second. Why are we not more supportive of others? A few things I've listed, and again, by all means, there can be an other. One is fear of others knowing more than us, fear of others doing better than us, for example, in our craft, or fear of not being seen as knowledgeable. Now, let me just elaborate or hone in on that last one, because over my career, different positions, different, companies or corporations, it cracks me up, because I feel like a lot of people have that fear of not being seen as knowledgeable. But the crazy part is that if you're being engaged or someone's being referred to you, you must be the knowledgeable person, right? Like, that has to be the answer, because why would someone refer to you as, or say you're training someone, or you have questions and you keep being directed to that person or a group, right? Clearly, you're the knowledgeable person. But again, some people have fear of that, and they either don't want to share their knowledge, or, they become super competitive, which I think is hilarious. I'm just going to be honest, because I'm very humble, so I don't, I'm not saying there's no arrogance about me, but at the same time, part of my, arrogance would be that I appreciate when someone wants to learn from me, or I appreciate that I am referred to as a go-to person, okay? And when I'm not, there's no hard feelings. I expect or hope that there's someone else you can go to. It shouldn't be a one-stop shop or end-all be-all, because of, to me, that would be insane, right? For no one else to know. However, I guess my concern, and again, I'm pulling a lot of these questions and things I came up with from social media. So when I say, why are we not more supportive, it's almost like people see each other as a threat, when we totally could be way more productive and successful if we act as a group. So I'm sorry, I don't think I activated that poll. So fear of others knowing more than us, fear of others doing better than us in our craft. So whether it's, say, for example, podcasting, or social media marketing, or whatever it is that's related to what I'm doing right now, or the piece I elaborated on of fear of not being seen as knowledgeable, which it's not to me, it's not a perfection thing. And maybe you have been doing it for years and you're pretty darn close to being perfect. So therefore you should be the knowledgeable party. But that doesn't mean no one else is, right? No one should feel like, excuse me, I'm not going to say feel like. Please understand that you're not the only person that knows something. Or maybe the new kid, say you've been doing it for a long time, and then the new kid comes in and they're knowledgeable based on current, right? So maybe you're old school and they're new school. There's something to be learned from both of you. And then lastly, I think that may have been my last poll. Let me make sure I'm showing that in video. Yeah, I wish I would have. I'm going to have to start doing this in Word. But the questions, as I mentioned, those may have gotten lost in the pre-work. But if I can add those later, I will. But anyway, again, these lives going forward, or YouTube sessions, they are, I feel like, primarily going to be almost therapeutic, because we need to do better. Stop bashing one another. Stop having these crazy expectations and the foolishness, right? Is because my thing is, do you want to be in a relationship or not? And if you're already in one, who gives a shit? I mean, like, why are you so focused on what somebody else is doing when you're already in one? You say you're happy, right? So just be happy and leave everybody else the hell alone. I mean, who cares what somebody looks like? Who cares what they're doing? Who cares if you're in a happy relationship, whether it be relationship or marriage, right? That's crazy to me. I listen. Honestly, I really don't care what anybody else is doing in a relationship. I just want to make sure mine is top notch. That's it. That's all. And until you find your person, and yes, I'm saying your person, that's my thing. And really your person is going to, not the people who aren't supportive, or who it's all about me, or who are not. If you have children, if that was one of my questions, I don't know what happened to it, but if you have children, it's like it changes everything, right? The dynamics change, your priorities change, your expectations change. Everything changes when kids are, whether it's your child together, or children together, or it's co-parenting, or blended families. We're in an age where the likelihood of it being a blended family is much higher than it used to be. So your expectations should be different from when there's no kids involved, right? That's just the reality of it. But we have to do something different. I'm just tired of seeing people speak on what should be happening in a relationship when, one, it doesn't have anything to do with you, two, you're not even in that situation, and then three, why are we always saying what that person or this group of people should be doing or not saying, or whatever it is. It's a plethora of things when you need to just focus on you. You're only in control of you, right? Focus on you, what you need to do. Keep in mind, if you're attracting the same BS, what is that saying about you? You're the common denominator. Shots fired. I mean, like, whatever y'all want to do, I'm with this. I want to say I'm with the shit, but bring the smoke. Somebody needs to call you out. I mean, it is what it is, and if you're not willing to put in the pre-work, you're going to keep attracting what you're not attracted to. I'll say it that way. I'm trying to be PC, y'all. But anyway, I'm coming up on, well, it's only been 40 minutes, but I'm really going to end this live because, again, this is a Facebook Live. I'm going to try to pre-schedule. Maybe I'll do another one. I'll schedule one for it'll be post-Christmas, pre-New Year's. So whatever that Friday is, I'll go ahead and set that up so that people can, I think you can save it somehow on Facebook. And I'll do another Facebook one because I'm working on my equipment. I have microphones and lighting and all that. And I'll have that ready hopefully for the first session in 2024. Y'all, we are only roughly 2 weeks out from 2024. That is insane. But I appreciate y'all, for anybody that taps in or anyone that is, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get down to business. If you haven't done so already, make sure you do that. I'll drop the link in the live or in the comments. I really appreciate if you set that up and subscribe because it's only going to get juicier. Like I said, I pull a lot of what I talk about from social media. I just I leave the messiness to other podcasters because it's way more of that versus what I'm trying to do, and that's to hopefully we can heal ourselves. Because again, the negativity, I'm not down for that. I'm trying to block all the noise out. So if you want to do an Andre 3000. This is your podcast. I am that. I am trying to block out the noise, and I'm only trying to move how I'm trying to move, and whatever's going to be conducive and positive for me and my daughter, that's the move. This year, next year, any year. All right? Well, I'm going to let y'all have, as they say in our meetings, 15 minutes back in your time. I appreciate y'all tapping in, and like I said, I do read the comments after the fact, so if you want to leave a comment, or I don't think you can vote on the polls after the fact, actively in the poll, but you can always comment what your thoughts are. So, okay, I thought I saw a question in there. All right, y'all, have a good night. It's Friday. Y'all be safe. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Have a good night. Bye.